We got our corners set roughly. I mean, it's not exact yet. We'll do that when we're ready to start drilling our holes. We're gonna put in these stakes. All right, so we'll do metal stakes. Much better. So today we're going to lay out our pole barn. First thing we've got to do is we've got to make sure that it is square. So we're going to talk about how to square our layout. Then we'll talk about how to set up string lines and measure for our posts. But the first thing we have to do when measuring squares is figure out which line is not going to change. So what is our permanent line, and it's going to be the front of our building, and we're measuring that based off of what we want it squared with on the property. So we've got a couple marks here. We'll set some nails in the ground and start squaring the building. So we've got our nail in the ground here at the corner. Try to get it as solid as you can, even though it's in gravel. We're going to hook up one end of our steel tape measure to that. And we are going to measure out the distance of our front wall, which is going to be 30 feet for this building. You're going to pull it kind of tight, but not too tight that you pull the nail out of the ground. Then at 30 feet, we're going to just push another nail into the ground. So now that we've got two nails in the ground, we've got our front line established, we're gonna find our two back corners. And to do that, we're gonna do a little math, or we're gonna use our construction calculator to figure out the diagonal between two lines with a right angle.
Sounds fancy.
Yes. Hey. So we're gonna break out our BH Max calculator, and we're gonna say that we have a 30-foot rise and a 50-foot run. And then our diagonal is going to be 58 feet, 3 inches, and 11/16. So we know that our diagonal line is 58, 3, and 11/16. So we've got our two front corners. Now I'm going to run one tape measure out to the 50 feet, and the other tape measure is going to be the 58, 3, and 11/16.
No.
So we want to use steel tape measures so they don't stretch, and you want to get them pulled tight, but you don't want to pull too hard that you pull the nails out of the ground. So we have our one wall at 50 feet. Our diagonal between our 2 points is 58 feet, 3, and 11/16. So right there is where we're going to put our corner. So pretty close to our original rough estimate.
Really not bad.
What used to be my diagonal is going to become my straight line measurement. So I'm going to wind this back up to 50 feet. And this one is going to stretch out to 58, 3, and 11/16. Okay, so we've got our 50-foot mark here, our 58, 3, and 11/16. And then I'm gonna go to the outside of tape this time because it's just a little easier. But it's all about our marks. And we're going to get our final measurements once we do our string. As you can see, our rough square was a little bit off.
By 8 inches.
So now what we're gonna do is set up our corner boards so we can do our string lines. But before we do that, we need to find out which corner is the highest and work off of that.
Okay.
So here we are at 3 foot 11 and a half. Here we're 3 foot 10 and a half. 3 foot 11 and a half. 3 foot 10. So this one's 3 foot 10 and a half. So this is our highest, or 3 foot 10. This is our highest corner. So this is what we're going to base everything off of for our string lines. So we're going to come up 6 inches, and that'll be the top of our board. So 3 foot 10 was our highest point on the pad. Everything was within an inch of itself, so that's great. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise this 6 inches, which brings us to 3 foot 4. So that's where we're going to set our sensor, and that will be what we use to set the height of our corner boards.
Every time we are working with the laser level and having to measure the grade, I always have to remind myself before I start which way the numbers go and why the lower number actually represents the higher ground.
Yeah, I think the easy way to remember it is that we are measuring down from the laser. So if the laser is at that 4 feet, that's saying that the ground is 4 feet down from the laser line. And so if the laser is at 3.5 feet, the ground is 6 inches higher than when it was at 4 feet.
Oh, thank you. That's all the more clear.
That was supposed to be my explanation where it all makes sense.
Aha.
Aha. So we're going to set up our corner boards. We want them set back a little bit from the corner and want them about a 45-degree angle so that we can get our strings attached to it. So we'll take our stakes, drive them in. And get a bigger hammer. All right, so you're gonna hold that board about level with me.
Okay.
All right, so now we're gonna level this board.
Okay.
All right, there's good. So we'll shoot a screw into that. And we'll come over to the other side. Right there.
Okay.
So now this board is even with the top of our bottom girt or our pressure treated board that's going to go around the building.
It's gonna get big gap to fill.
Right, but it's smaller. The nail's there.
Oh, sorry.
So this is outside the building.
Yes.
So basically our corner post will be right here.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Just like that.
Now we wait for wood. Now we'll set the corner board on our next corner.
higher
than the stake, yeah.
Oh.
Go down. I mean, it's just a little bit higher.
I'm not really asking.
More.
We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action.
All right, so I'm going to give you this loop, and you're going to hold it on the board in a way that you can see that the string is directly over the top of our nail.
Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts.
Okay? Directly over.
Exactly no.
Exactly no?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to adjust it. So it's basically just as best as you can get it directly over top of the nail.
Okay.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me make a mark here, and I'll come put a screw in down there for you. Good. I'll come down here and pull tight.
Eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde. A classic cliche, we're on the run.
Okay.
This is what we waited for.
We got one wall.
Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can miss
You on the nail?
It's hard to know. It's so far above the nail.
Right, but if you stood right above it, once we get our strings, we're going to square it again, doing the same thing. We'll measure our diagonal at least. So we started with just rough paint on the ground, getting our corners. Then we refined that a little bit by putting nails in the ground, checking our square, and then we refined that even more with our corner boards. We stretched our strings, and then we checked our diagonal measurement to make sure we were still at that 58 foot, 3 and 11/16 inch to our corners. And so we were a little bit off. We were right on with our other corner, but this corner was a little off, so we had to adjust our screws. So we had to come over basically about 3/4 of an inch to get that adjusted, and that was to get our 50 feet from the other side. So once our two diagonals were exactly right, we knew that we were perfectly square all the way around. Then we went around and measured for our layout. So the center of our 30-inch hole is going to be at the yellow dot. So we've got our orange corner, yellow dot is the center of the drill. That will put our posts on the inside of this corner. Then we came over, we've got 10-foot spacing between our bays, so we came over 10 foot from the outside edge to the center of this post, made our orange marks, then made our yellow dot at the center of that 6x8 post that will go here.
Wonderful. And how did it all turn out?
Perfect.
Awesome.
Now we're just waiting for the drill.
Yep.